I know that this is an opportunity for us to work together. When teens are 17 and 18 years old, that's not the time to attack crime. It's far before that, okay? We need to expand the hours of our libraries and our community centers. And we need to have more public-private funding. We need to be more creative as to how we're going to find the money to make sure these kids last till they graduate, make sure these kids become productive citizens in our community.
I think it boils down to education. I think if we work on our schools become community schools, they become community centers. And we're talking about closing community centers in this day and age. I think that's a bad conversation to have. That's where it all lies. Remember the Boston Miracle? It's that sort of thing that we need to happen. People need to get in the room, people that know the neighborhoods and know the key players. For any sort of gun running ring or something, there's key players and people know who they are. You have to take the fear away from the people so they can be identified, and the key players have to be taken off the street first off. Was there a second part of that question? Yeah, I think it's in funding for community centers, and I think if we put out a more educated population, we work on our schools. It has to start from the bottom. You build the house from the foundation first, and then you build it up.
You want to say something about illegal guns?
They're running, the guns are coming, my opinion, they're coming from probably down south, and that goes back to there's major players that are making money off this. It's like any illegal business, there's somebody making money off it. You have to follow the money, figure out where the people are, and take those people off the street. But I think the guns are coming from down south, but I'm not an expert on that, I don't know.
Violence in the district. It's not just our youth. It's ranging from 14 up to 45, maybe even a little older than that. So we have to focus on it. We have domestic violence, we have violence on the streets, we have it everywhere. One of the things that I think we have to focus on with our youth especially is development. When you talk to youth these days, you ask them, you know, what's going on, what's happening with them, and they actually tell you they don't have anything to look forward to. They don't think that there's anything to look forward to. So that's why one of my platforms, my main platform, is youth development. We need to do more than just educate them to read, write, and arithmetic. We need to educate them on how to be a successful adult. And we have to focus, we have to give them the things that help, like jobs. Our adults who are out there doing crime because they don't have a job. They don't know, they don't have that self-worth that there's something worthy that they can do in the district, in Dorchester, and I think that's what we need to focus on. Access to guns. Davita's asking, where do the guns come from? They're not coming from us, the low income and the middle income.
The issue of violence throughout the district goes from Lower Mills to Sept Hill to Meetinghouse Hill. Early this summer there was a shooting at the Sept Hill platform, and actually my son was on the following train and I wasn't able to reach him. It was a feeling that I never want to ever feel again, and I can only imagine the feeling of a parent that actually has had that violence happen to them. Tina Cherry does an amazing job of trying to get in front of this problem for many, many years. How do we address this mentality that the children have today of this gangster life, and they seem to have no consequences of their actions, or they have no recognition of their own mortality? Last week at the board in Geneva, there was a thing out here with Davita Andelman, who's up there holding a sign right now. And the biggest relevant question is, where are they getting the guns? Where are the guns coming from? Because at the end of the day, these kids have to have access to guns. And like Frank said earlier, I think there's a huge underground gun trade. And though it's difficult, I think that would be a huge part of stopping some of the violence.
Thanks a lot. All right, you got the Bailey Street Broncos, the Norfolk Street Gang. All right, you got the Mount Pleasant Gang. All right, you got the Charge Gang. You got the Brawley Gang. You got the Crips. These are just some of the gangs, all right, that are affecting our streets. All right, you got 26 prostitutes catwalking, all right, through Dorchester Avenue and Adams Street, right through that intersection. 20 of them are female, 6 of them are male. All right, you have senseless murders like Derek Missoula, all right, who was murdered at the Savin Hill T-Stop in May. right? I'll tell you why this crime is going on. It's because people are afraid to stand up and say something, all right? They're afraid of retribution. So my solution is the Violence Intervention Crime Prevention Program. It's a program that was developed by Mayor Menino, otherwise known as the VIP program. And what it is you have members of the Department of Public Health, elected officials, and members of the police force going house to house, talking to people to build that communication and that trust so that crime stops. Thank you.
Thank you, panelists. All right, now we're going to go to another multi-part question, and this one is on housing. And it is a little complicated, so we didn't want to just ask one question on this. It starts with foreclosures. And I'll tell you the order of the questions. We're going to start with Doug, and then Stephanie, Frank, John, Meredith, Martin, and Craig. I'm going to pose these 4 questions, first to Doug, and they start again with foreclosures. While the number of foreclosures has dropped in Boston this year, the issue is still of great concern to Dorchester residents. As a city councilor, how will you address the ongoing foreclosure crisis?
Well, thank you. Regarding the foreclosure crisis, we need to have a moratorium on foreclosures. All right, we're in a depression. All right, we're not coming out of no recession. This is depression. People are losing their jobs. People are losing their homes. All right, families are having a tough time putting food on the plates of their loved ones. So that's the first thing. Banks need a moratorium, and we need to stop these foreclosures. Second question. Go ahead.
Problem properties. We know something about this, right? Even before the alarming number of foreclosures in Dorchester, we've had to contend with far too many problem properties that were sorely in need of repair. We all know about the broken window theory, right? One house with one broken window leads to another and signals that the neighborhood may be crime-ridden and that it's not worth investing in. In light of budget cuts, how would you work with homeowners, city officials, and others to address the need for aggressive property repair?
Well, I think that the biggest thing is this, right? And it's, whether the properties look good, whether you have clean streets and sidewalks, right? Whether you clean the trash out of the parks, right? If you keep everything looking good, right, the economy's going to be better, the local economy, right? You're going to bring people to those neighborhoods, right? People are going to spend more money, right? And you know what's going to happen? I guarantee you're going to have less crime. Right, so yes, I am a big supporter of the broken window theory. Right, it's a plan that Rudy Giuliani promoted when he was mayor of New York City. Right, and as your city councilor, that is a plan I will support.
Two more. Trash. Another indicator that can cause potential businesses and new home buyers to think twice about investing in a community is cleanliness. Tell us, what is your plan to keep our streets and empty lots in Dorchester clean?
Well, thank you, Charlotte. First of all, many neighborhoods go unattended. No street sweepers go through in the wintertime, right? Because that money is being allotted for snow removal. I think that the city, what we need to do is when we don't have snow, we need to send the street sweepers down those streets. Keep those streets clean. All right, this should be going on all year round. All right, if you do that, you're going to have clean streets and sidewalks. And thus, you're going to have a stronger economy, local economy.
And the last one has to do with development, which we kind of touched on a little earlier. Okay, there's a great deal of concern about community involvement in development. How will you assure that resident concerns are taken seriously throughout the development process on each project? And would you negotiate a community benefits package?